Hello, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody that celebrates the American tradition today. I'm Paul Anderson, and our topic is the introduction to low-cost, multi-size panel kilns with flame cap biochar. Next, I'll just tap. You have to advance it. I don't think I can. Can I advance it? No.
No,
Okay,
I have to do it.
you'll do it. Okay. There are actually 3 presentations of similar content where you can see all this content. The traditional documents are going to be up on a website. You can see them today. And there's also the slide deck that I'm speaking from. And we have the recording of this webinar, which is on the slide deck. They have different advantages, and you can see the major parts in the documents, the things which I'm going to skip over today. You can go back in there and read them and that. The webinar is fast delivery. You can go back to the slide deck and look and go right to the specific slides that you'd like to do. Today's slide deck and shown documents are already available on a special landing page at the website panelkiln.woodgas.com. Okay, the full website is going to be up in early December. We've just had a glitch on something. So but we'll go to and next slide. So how do I, next please? There we go. I'm going fast through some of these. This is also about the website, and that particular note there is also up at the landing page for you. I'm not going to read through any of this type of stuff. Next, all right, the panel kiln materials are organized in 6 parts, which are listed out in the sides there. And I'm going to use those parts in today's presentation, but not in that order. I've used them for the advantages of a PowerPoint presentation. So there's 6 parts, and each part has sections in it. And you'll see the importance of this a little bit later on. Next, there we go. Then in part 1, the overview of why are we doing this, I assume you know about climate change, carbon issues. I'm not going to go into about biochar, the leading CDR. Biochar has some of its issues. We know about flame cap, also known as Kontiki pyrolysis, low cost, etc. But flame cap pyrolysis is worthy of some technology breakthroughs, please. These breakthroughs, and all of them, will be accomplished in some way or another in different variations of panel kiln technology. Lower cost kilns, scalable units, higher production per unit, easier operations, and that means both manually, or if it's semi-mechanized, or even a fully mechanized version, which is utilizing aspects of flame cap kiln. We're going to maintain or improve the clean emissions and biochar qualities. We want kiln mobility and thermal energy usage in there. So we can do all of those in it. Next, in my work, I have been on this for over 20 years, and it's been a sequence of different things coming on. I'm known for the TLUD work, but AVUD, biochar, C2P, char to power, rock kilns, now the panel kiln. These are derived as they're coming on. In support efforts, I've done work with digital MRV, carbon credits, climate issues, and also something new, but just getting, I know we're well advanced on it, but not yet to reveal, about AI, artificial intelligence, for pyrolysis issues. Next. Now, I devise technologies to make biochar for doing pyrolysis, whether it was in cook stoves or rock kilns or something else. I go with the principles, etc. I am not a manufacturer. I am not an engineer. I am not a farmer, and I do not do biochar enrichments. I work with others, and that means I need to work with you. I want to work with you on these different types of things. I need that participation. And my initials are PSA. I am not going to be in charge. I will assist you in order to accomplish the things that you're wanting to accomplish. Now, as we move into larger scale, bigger volumes, it has exceeded my ability to do it on a voluntary basis and with my own budget. So we're going to be talking about larger units and the funds that go with them. Next. Finally, much of this time on task with the doc. I am Dr. T-Lud, okay? Many people helped, contributed with this, but there are some lessons learned, and some of these lessons I do not want to repeat with regard to the panel kilns. Simplicity breeds contempt, and free breeds disregard. The T-Lud experience suffered from the fact that everybody and their brother thought that they knew how to do it, and we had so many different variations. It's great to not limit people. We want the innovations and efforts, but people went off and said, I know how to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it myself. And they've wasted lots of money on it. I call them wild cards. And I've got stories that I could tell, but I'm not going to do that here. And also the not invented here complex. People think, oh, they can do it. They know what it is. I know things from my work with the panel kiln thus far. I'm offering that to you, but here are the issues on it. So we want to do things differently. We're going to coordinate. We're going to have reasonable fees and use a different business approach. So we're using levels of support to be implemented. Next, please. Okay. In internet issues and computer things, on the left-hand side, there's the free stuff. Then you can pay for services, and you can get the premium access, okay? Well, I've got 5 levels with panel kiln. The free part are the announcements, public awareness, just like we're doing today. No restrictions on it, a recording, give it to everybody. The basic for the individual and instructional size kilns, which are able to do up to, well, they can do more than that, but we are looking at the individual sizes up to 1 ton per month. Most people only do 1 ton a year, maybe, but this is for, and it's free for that information. There's a restriction, though, that I'll explain later in terms of dissemination. The commercial size from 1 ton a month to 1 ton a day. And this is where you typically have employees and you have sales of biochar, carbon credits, things like that. That's the commercial level, the C level, A, B, C. D level is for developer, the industrial zones. This is like the presentation today in for India and cotton. You are an industrial processing of this. We have a massive area to do, even though it's with small individual types of kilns. And the final level is the extra one. If there's donors out there, grant providers, investors, I'd like to talk with you. There's lots of things that we can go with on it. So let's move on and we'll see the next part. So we got the levels of support here. Across the top, you see there are levels of support, A, B, C, D, E. On the left-hand side, the parts, which I mentioned, and the sections. And then finally, the topics that are listed on there. We will use this sheet to help guide the accumulation of all the information that's going to come about panel kilns over the coming months and years, et cetera, of their use. Next, please. And this next slide is just very quickly to show you that on the documented materials that you can access as downloadable documents is an explanation, excuse me, of those key topics of support, things like fabrication, emissions, mobility, et cetera. I won't read it, so next slide, please. This is the things where you go back to and see those other documents that are available to you. Here is what you've been looking for, okay? The definition and the first look at a panel kiln, my version anyway. It is essentially a modular flat-walled segments. It's a set of these flat-walled segments that can be transported flat and then easily positioned with minimal joining, important, with minimal joining to create a six-sided cavity for pyrolysis. We are using the flame cap type of pyrolysis where the charcoal will accumulate in the lower part of that cavity. The pictures there on the lower left is from Kenya, a unit that's in use, and the two diagrams on the other side are made of sheet metal of 3 sheets or 5 sheets, standard 4 by 8 foot sheets of steel, and how to make it happen. Extremely inexpensive and very efficient. Next, please. The commercial stuff and the developers things I will be discussing at later times, but next. Okay, that's that organizational sheet here. So we have the announced and just, oh, all right. Okay, we don't go back. Okay, but that sheet indicated that we had the level A for the free stuff, the part B on the fundamentals and prior kilns. This is the prior art section about this innovation. These kilns, flame cap kilns, can have structural bottoms. They create 3-dimensional rigid cavities. You pick up the whole thing and move it around. This is the classic kontiki, the conical shape in the left-hand side. And then across the bottom are pictures of 4 different trenches. One I made, one is from Kelpie Wilson, another 2 are from Warm Heart in Thailand. Next, please. And I wrote in there, do all of these have kontiki pyrolysis according to the carbon CSI criteria? If so, we're able to use these for carbon credits. Earth bottom kilns is the second major type. The upper right picture, the pit, and Rajiv, the previous presenter, showed a picture of digging the pits. But remember that pits or trenches are essentially empty holes that cannot be moved. They have absolutely no mobility. You have to fill it in and dig another one. So the panel kilns are far superior to digging the hole. Other designs are to have walls above ground that are above the side of a normally shallow hole or a pit or a trench. If desired, loose sheets of material could be placed on the bottom. Pictures there. Lower left is Hans-Peter Schmidt's, and far lowest left is Kelpie Wilson's. Then Gary Gilmore's one is shown in there, and then 2 of them by James Jenkinson. These walls are almost always curved or trapezoid shaped and welded or bolted together. Our stricter definition of panel kilns refers to being flat, rectangular, and basically separate sheets of steel. Next, please. So that's in the terms of the prior art. There's no efforts to trying to patent this concept, though. A full comparison of the panel kiln and other flame caps are beyond the scope of this webinar. But I do ask that if you use a flame cap or kontiki kiln, please consider comparing it with the panel kilns. And there's reasons for that to your advantage. I mean, we want to have it evaluated. The best evaluations will come from the people who are actually the users. So we will want you to use the designs, which will be available through woodgas.com. I will help you, and you can make variations on it. It's fine. But basically, if you make a panel kiln, send photos back to my website, and you will receive a $100 credit on your level C fees. If you use this kiln and you report your experience, there's another $100 for you. So it'll help you get your kilns up. So that's basically the transition to the business topics on panel kilns. Next. This next slide shows you the 5 levels. Oops. Next, please. There you go. The 5 levels, but this time added in about the fee and non-disclosures. A and B are free, okay? No charge to you, but in the B, you need to agree that terms and conditions of non-disclosure until July of 2025, only 7 months away, to anybody who is not registered. We're going to keep the information in those who wish to cooperate and work with it will have open discussions and things, but you're not to go post this out in general. Otherwise, it's just going to go wildly all around, people doing things which don't make too much sense, and we're not able to pull it together. In my opinion, that's why I'm trying that approach. For the commercial level, there's a negotiable, it's a fee of $400, but if you actually build a kiln and you send in a report about it, we take off $2 from that, and I'll work with you on anything. If you're active and producing something of value, I'm not trying to pull in a lot of money this way, but the people who just want to say, I just want to look in and see, it's a $400 fee, okay? And there's also, if you are financially successful and using panel kilns for that success, then revenue sharing is a criteria that comes into it. And we will have a special discussion group specifically for the people in this commercial or level C business zone. The developers, this is with more than a ton a day, or the major systems such as we're looking at for the cotton issues. We'll just work this out and have this special groups being formed, special topic groups. And of course, then if anybody is a donor or grantor or investor, you could say, hey, we'll cover these costs and therefore we'll make it so nobody has to pay. But I can't do it myself. And this is why I've implemented this fee structure. Next, please. Why registration? To build a network. We need this. Non-disclosure, because we want to offer some degree of protection to those who actually do the work and they share the knowledge with others, okay? And we'll have far fewer poor imitations by doing it that way. The payments that cover the costs that we have for doing some things, stimulate further activities if we'll have some money available to do things which maybe are more risky situations, nobody's trying to do it. And we could be profitable when you have a revenue stream that is derived from panel kilns. And there's a pledge from me. I'm seeking impact. I'm seeking fairness to all concerned. I don't need to go into details. Those that know me, pretty straight shooter on it, and we'll go from that. But there's going to be big money associated with project developments, and because of the biochar things. If there isn't big money, the society is going to be in trouble because we won't be using, if we're not getting enough of biochar made. Okay, next, please. I'd like to include everybody else in with those opportunities and activities. This one is at the document, so we can skip over that. There's more details, just so you restate it. The next slide also is a restatement that is in terms of a graphic form with the topics down the left-hand side and the 5 levels across the top and how these things fit in together so that how the stuff can all relate. Next, please. This is all that stuff is available today. You just go to the landing page and you can get the document types of things. Now, of special interest to you, this is the first, or it's partial, of a participation report, part 5, okay, that we do. And it's from Kenya. This is not in the documents. This is only here in the slide set. The first panel kiln project has been active since July of this year in Bungoma, Kenya, okay, owned by Gilbert Mwangi. Details of the fabrication costs and materials already posted at the website. And on the left-hand side, you see the topics that are in there. All highlighted in red these are the topics which we're discussing and showing some of the things of in these particular first round of devices. When there's something that's coming up about emissions, it'll be with the topic emission highlighted in red and not the other ones. Bottom line is there, one panel kiln with 2 workers has produced over 10 tons of dry, I mean bone dry, no water at all, biochar from corn stalks in 5 months, working 4 days a week. That comes out to being the equivalent to being 30 tons per year from two workers using 1 kiln, okay? And it's already operating at the commercial level. Next, please. And I have 3 slides about the Kenya experience. This one here, you're going to come back, because of time limits, you're going to come back to that and read it on your own. but it gives you the justifications and the costs and factors and things that go on with it. Important to note that a panel kiln with a set of tools, rakes and hose shovels and those types of things, is about $200. Okay, it's inexpensive. The kiln itself in Kenya was made from new materials purchased in stores and with some labor there for about $100. And this is the panel kiln there. There are variables for the income, but to increase the income. The conclusion, though, is it is financially viable when carbon credits are sold to operate with panel kilns. So I'm going to ask people to please buy panel kiln CDR credits. It will be coming, and we'll work on that also, certainly with regard to our friend and the beetle regen people in India on cotton. Next, please. Got a couple of more slides, a few more slides. In this participation report, you will eventually get a video about how the panel kiln, we can set it up in 3 minutes with one person. 2 people can do it even faster, and operational issues. And one kiln has shown proof of concept and financial viability. So to all who are listening, I do have a request. We need 10 kilns at about $200 each in order to make a fully sustainable pilot project, not just the one kiln, demonstrate the kiln, but we want to have 10 of them working under Gilbert's management over there, around 300 tons per year. Looking for a sponsor, looking for help with regard to that. We need buyers for the CDR credits, and we'd like $100 to $120 each would be better, and we will provide documentation for that because we have actual weights for all of the char that's been produced. And we seek CSI recognition, but this costs money. If anybody from CSI is listening or you have connections with them, please help us out with this. We'd like to get something going. So I'd ask you to please sponsor a kiln or buy some credits or be a donor. Next, please. Now, I have other opportunities of working with me. Very briefly, I'm looking at larger TLUDs, but we're looking at some big money into there. The AVUD system is residential heating in modern homes with thermostat control. We're looking at stuff with that. We're looking for some investors. Some people want to move in on innovative stuff. The C2P consumes biochar to run internal combustion engines. The big topic of panel kilns, which we've been mentioning, and there's also the special AI case for about pyrolysis. That's another thing where you could work with me if you're interested in those. And my address is for how you reach me. It comes later here. But about the panel kilns, and we can go to the next slide because we're going to be talking about cotton and the field burning of straw. And then also it relates to the underbrush. It relates to all these other waste biomass or abundant biomass sources. A week ago, there was a webinar on cotton stalks as biochar done there. And so today's talk reconfirmed everything I said. But that other talk was of great interest in there, and probably the beetle regen people know who Suresh Patil is in his presentation. But there's the data there for India. And for them, a Kontiki costs them about $400, and it's a 1.4 cubic meter volume. The numbers that were given for beetle regen, your Kontikis were, it said up to $690, about $700. It's in the same ballpark. Depends on the metal, how you go with it. A panel kiln costs less than half, and it goes for double the volume, like 3 cubic meters. It's very adjustable in its sizes and lengths, and it's going to accomplish these tasks. And I would love to have this kiln tested side by side in India with Rajiv and the beetle regen people. We can make that happen. Now, this is greater efficiencies on it. I will be looking to work with the beetle regen and others. This is an example of how we will form a group of people who want to have this and work with them. I will share everything with that to make that happen, a big success. And if that's the case, then we can also do it for straw, burning of rice straw and wheat straw in India, and attacking these things. I've got ideas and things about that. Next, please. Okay. These are major projects which are possible. I have a high-tech pyrolysis innovation. It's pretty much still confidential, probably patentable, continuous 24/7. This is for the investor, impact donor, somebody like that. If you're into that, please write to me with the subject high-tech interest. Please note that my email address that I'm using now specifically for these purposes are my initials, psa@woodgas.com. My other personal one is a website that's too cluttered up with other messages. So you write to psa@woodgas.com. Next, please. The serious challenges, where I think the next or 2 slides yet something. Serious challenges: straw burning in fields in India, Thailand, invasive species, prosopis, etc., in Africa, vineyards and orchard trimmings, lots of things like that. If you're interested, please be in touch with me. Like I said, I work with people. I can't do it. I have to work with people on it. Forest improvement and fire safety, coffee farms with their abundant biomass that they have available, and much more. I want to do them all. I can only do them with you, with others, with people doing it. And we need working groups for each one. We're sharing out these ideas. Each geographic unit is also a reason to be together. The people in India be together. The people who are in Cambodia or in certain African nations or something. Yes, we get together. We will coordinate through, this coordination part. We'll accomplish that through the email system that we're .com. Next, please. This is the next to the last one, the summary. We've got 3 ways to attain large volume production of biochar. First one, low-tech panel kilns with much manual labor and many units. Get it organized. We can do this thing, and this is exactly what we're going to do with the issue for cotton in there, and work side by side with the other methods. And the larger units, stronger units, thicker metal, etc. We can bring in mechanical support for it, trying to cut down on the labor costs associated with this thing. And here we're looking for state and national programs to solve major problems. We find the grants. We don't want just a hopscotch scattering around of things. We will share information between them. And the other one is the high-tech macro kilns, big things, 24/7 mechanical automation and use of heat. A wonderful way to work with that. Again, if you're interested, it's important that you can write to me at psa@woodgas.com, or go to the next page, please, the last one. And we'll leave up this last page for people to look at. There we go, this conclusion, and we'll just leave this one up for a while. My email address is there in the lower right-hand side. Your continuation point after today, go to panelkiln.woodgas.com. There is already a landing page there for you to look at and to use. I want to thank you all for your attention. I want to thank Dr. Christian Wurzer and the Green Carbon webinar people for doing this. I will be in the next coming months assisting those who register with the B, C, and D levels, starting off in the free ones and stuff. Please do look into that. And as I mentioned to Christian before, we're at the end of our time. I've asked him if we could, and he'll control this, if we could have a little bit extra time to just stay on for some questions about it. And one of the issues is, if we would like to have more information, getting into the details and the questions and specific task discussions, next week at the same time, there is no Green Carbon webinar planned. They're every 2 weeks. So next week is open, And depending on the response of this group, and you can put your comments into the chat, do you want to have the chance to come back next week? Not for the same presentation. This is the discussions. This is revealing things. And I'll have a week of getting information in from people, helping to get all that organized. So thank you all very much. And I'll take the questions. Thank you.
Hi, Paul. Thank you very much for your new kiln design. As I told you before, I think it's very interesting, a very low tech approach. So Albert Bates was asking a question. With Gilbert Mangis kiln, is there concern for the zinc alloy coating on the laminar tin and toxic emissions? Have these been quantified?
Okay. Obviously the zinc coating melts away. It is not a toxic gas that comes off if you were doing high temperature welding on it. It melts and it goes away like zinc oxide that you rub on your nose as white stuff. So I'm not worried about that. And painting and things go off. For the 5 months, we're using the same panels, the same corrugated sheeting. We have a sheet on the bottom of it to help us pick up the char off the ground. And that sheet seems to take the beating a bit more than the others, but it's all holding up very nicely thus far. And it's made, and you can buy corrugated roofing at different thicknesses. And that depends on what's available in your, in your country. And also sheets can be made with bends and folds in them, not true corrugations, but we want to get a structural element into it. So yes, the material is holding up. It is not something that just burns out and we're done with it in 2 weeks or something. We've gone 5 months already and still going.
Okay. So Steve was mentioning that if your organization at UPaul is a 501c3 organization, I guess that's something US thing. If not, he may assist with getting donations.
Okay. That I would help anybody who can help out with getting donations. And I do not have a 501c3. I did at one time. I know some people and others who could do it. I've gone the commercial route because for other reasons. But yes, would work with you if you wanted to donate into some organization, which then is that way, and they would want to gain rights and able to do things and for covering a certain geographic area or a certain type of biomass or whatever. Happy to work with you. Just write to me with all those different ideas. And if there is a donor, please contact me. We'll be creative. We'll find ways that are legal and good and make it happen.
So a more technical question, GR was asking, if burning wood, what is the largest size advisable with a panel kiln? Is it similar to a Contiki or, and then another question, what is maximum size for ROCC kiln?
Okay, first of all, the ROCC kiln, that's my invention. I've got 2 patents on it. The panel kiln exceeds the rock kiln in terms of, this is how the learning curve, as I went through it, learned it the hard way, but I like the rock kiln. It's still valuable. If you're interested in it, that's fine. The panel kiln does not have the length restrictions. The diagrams that we showed you there was the 3 panel and the 5 panel, doubled the length from 8 feet long to 16 feet long. Put on 2 more panels and you have it 24 feet and you're getting these things going. It could handle long lengths of bamboo without needing to cut them up, without needing to chip them and things like that. Miscanthus, long types of corn stalks and things like that. Not so long, but it is not the case of the cotton stalks. They're nicely bundled. We're throwing them in, but we would still have a long kiln operating so that we can keep feeding it. We're feeding it at one end, feeding the middle, feeding the far end. And by that time, we're back up to feeding again instead of putting in some and then waiting around for it. And we have the advantage of length. The Contiki is, if it's defined Contiki as the conical shape, they are much more restricted in size and the volume and things that go along.
So Scott was asking, um, uh, using his own panel kiln, he sees cold spots in the four corners where he ends up with more ash per char product. How do you deal with biochar quality control in your panel kilns?
Okay. Part of the issue is volume. You lose some in the corners, yes. You try to seal the corners better, and that things are happening. You learn from experience, and you keep your fire more in the middle. But if you can process 5 times as much, and you're losing 10%, you're 4.9 times ahead of the game. Okay, so there's some losses. Nothing is not perfect. We have a problem of overabundance, and not we've got to get cotton stalks off of fields, corn, straw, rice straw, and others off of fields to stop the burning, so that they don't pollute the air in there. So we don't mind losing a little bit in the corners.
Another technical question was from Michael. Is quenching the typical method for ending the carbonization run?
Okay. In Kenya, because we were working prior to that with rock kilns, we have a method that we gather the char and we put it into a barrel and we weigh it. And once we have a dry weight, we then dump it out and we quench it with a little local water that's around, or we quench it with some dirt is another possibility. I personally like the idea of taking down the side walls of a panel kiln and dumping the char out right there and burying it and putting it underneath to get it to extinguish. And you're mixing in the dirt. That's part of the objective of what we're trying to do. So these are the things which will be determined by experience of people who are out there. And some people are going to like it with water, and some people are going to like it with dirt, and other people are going to smother it in barrels.
Don Halffield was asking, what's the maximum diameter of biomass that can be used in the panel kilns?
Uh-huh. In a smaller panel kiln, I think that you probably want to be at 3-inch diameter, as would be good. 4 inches possible. Beyond that, you're starting to get into now you're into the woody and the bigger types of things. And that would mean we should go to a bigger size of a panel kiln, thicker metal, stronger types of things, and have more time on task that's pyrolyzing. And there are some techniques there which I am not disclosing at this time. I will disclose to the people who sign up for the non-disclosure, what they're not going to disclose with other people. And that I'm not trying to hold it in for a long time, but just for a while. And I'll work with the people who will say, yes, they'll give it a try, and they can give us reports back on it. I want to go up to much larger pieces of wood, but that's in the developer level, the big stuff.
Okay. You also got some or some offers for further collaboration in the chat, but I guess that's more from Gonzalo Mitre.
I didn't understand that. What?
No, Gonzalo Mitre said they have 400,000 hectares of coffee plantations, and he wants to discuss more about the coffee industry. If you have anything to add.
Okay. My comment is, you write to me at psa@woodgas.com and the coffee thing, and I'm going to get them in, and we will be discussing that specifically with other people who are also interested in the coffee aspect of it. This will overlap with some things, such as people who might have miscanthus or orchards or something like that. And so I will coordinate to bring all of the advantages from each of the sort of specialty groups coming in together. So if I get 5 people who are talking about coffee, I'm going to get us all together and we're going to form a working group. I can envision 20 or more groups, especially if you start subdividing them by geographic area. India is gigantic, so it could even be within an individual state inside of India. But people in the Kenya group, I'm ready to roll with the Kenya group because that's where Gilbert is with the demonstration. We could hold a workshop next week if we needed to, live, with demonstration, everything.
Okay, I think that's all the questions in the chat for now. Unless you have one, then type fast. Um,
My question is anybody interested in the meeting next week? Or do we just have this extra meeting? And I'm going to say the way to do it is to probably go down and do your raise your hand, like in a question, that's on there. If there isn't, I'm happy. We're fine. I will work with whoever we're writing in, and you'll go to that to there. At some time, we'll be having other meetings in that. Okay. Thank you very much.